Hi, it's me, Brodie McLeod, once again on the internet talking at you. I've got like quite a long video to make today and I want to cover quite a lot of themes. I've written down like a narrative of dates and I've got some YouTube videos to show you and some stuff to show you on Google Drive. So the story all started when I've made a few videos about this tile being laid in my house while I was out buying a new CCTV hard drive, and me coming back and having a lot of kind of questionable delusional beliefs maybe about what had happened there, but there's a lot of coincidental stuff that kind of surrounded it, which made it really hard to as like, you know, a delusional thing, because it seems like everybody's talking about it or mentioning it. Anyway, where should we start? This tile was laid on the 29th of December 2017, right? And I didn't lift it up. I didn't fall for this trap, which I, kind of still half believe might have been, legit, half believe might just have been something I imagined, but there seemed to be loads of corroborating evidence. I got 135. Or I can't remember, 136 or 135 is essentially a section where the police have the power of arrest under PACE to come and to search and detain a patient. They smashed my door down and all this kind of stuff. I don't know what the video, to do a screen recording of mic and audio was going to probably echo the audio of these videos through the mic, but I've just uploaded them to YouTube. The police actually ripped the camera off the wall while they were doing that. Let me have a look here. So here is the video of around the 17th of January. So they laid this tile on the 29th of December. I took a photo of it on the day it was laid, the 29th of December 2017. By the 17th of January, this was around the time I was 135. I actually ripped the camera off the wall. This is relevant because of what I'm going to talk about in a minute. Here's that video. If you can watch it without it sounding awful, hopefully it'll be viewable.
Can I see your ID, please?
No.
Well, can I see your ID, please?
Can you come to that scene? I'll show you my work first.
Can I see your ID, please, sir?
My colleague, thank you.
So I'm asking you for ID and you're walking away.
And there it goes, ripping my camera off the wall.
Hello, buddy. Can you show me your ID, please, mate? Can you tell me the name of the police officers outside my house, please, mate? So they're just ignoring me and won't show me their ID. Could you tell me the badge numbers on their shoulders, please?
They can use those.
Excuse me, could you identify the police officer stood outside my house? And why it is you've moved my CCTV to obscure your face? Well, someone's moved the CCTV. It hasn't moved itself on its own. What have you got to hide? You're an officer of the law. You've got a badge on your shoulder. Why are you trying to hide from my cameras and remove evidence of your presence? Well, who's moved my CCTV? Hasn't been moved since you've been here. That's complete bollocks, buddy.
Read the story, but you mean that was leaked out of the Pentagon? Sir,
Excuse me, mate. Can you move my CCTV camera back where it was? Do you mind me asking why it is you've moved it, or you're trying to keep this a secret? You're a public servant? Could you move my camera back where it was, please? No.
When we go in, we take some photos.
What do you want photos of, mate? Do you mind me asking your badge number? He's just ignoring me. Can you tell me the name of that officer who's just ignored me and walked away? Can you give me his badge number? Could you tell me it by reading it off his shoulder?
Actually, yeah, myself.
He's on the phone, mate. I am going to come quietly. I won't need restraining. But it'd be good if you could identify yourself. Is that okay?
No, please.
Oh, it's my property.
Send them the mental health act, mate.
Can I get my property? Anything to take with me before I go? Or?
No, it's fine.
Can I
We will
go to
see
the
you.
local GP? Is that safe? Or?
No.
Anyway, I got revived. I was taken to the Cedars unit in Exeter, and then I was taken to Haytor ward, and then actually I was taken to Nash ward, which is on this site, but this was back in the very beginning of 2018. Anyway, at the end of 2018, I got really paranoid that somebody had come into my house with a gun in the middle of the night. I hadn't slept for about 3 nights, and I'd heard them creeping up the stairs and saying something that looked like somebody with a gun, and that had really worried me. And I went on a one-way trip to Bristol, and there's a British Transport Police station at Bristol Temple Meads. So I left all my important documents that I normally carried around in a rucksack for years, thinking it might be a one-way mission to go and try and save my brother. And I said to the police, as soon as I got to the station, I pulled this trick on the train where you've got a human right to water, but if you try and ask for a bottle of water on the train, they'll tell you it'll be £7.69. And I said, no, I'm not paying for this bottle of water. I'm dehydrated, I feel faint, I haven't slept, I need water for first aid purposes, and it's my human right. You can't deny me access to water on a train. And that was enough to warrant the BTP to come and meet me off the train as soon as I left. And when they got off the train, I said, look, my brother's having a really hard time. Something really dodgy's gone on at my home. And I really need police assistance and help. And they were very sort of sympathetic and listened to what I had to say. I did have some evidence still with me, and they took me to the police station, but eventually I was just assessed under the Mental Health Act and sectioned. I was taken to the Priory Hospital for a few weeks, and then I was taken for the first time to Signet Taunton. Now, when I was at Signet Taunton, I had this delusional belief that my sister Lily Allen was also being held there with her children, and that she'd been sort of gang raped by the patients and the staff, and some really upsetting sort of thoughts had gone through my head and things that I was worried about. It was weird actually, when I went on home leave was the night she went on to the Big Nasty show, and she really didn't look very happy on the Big Nasty show. She was kind of like, it wasn't like they were like ribbing her. I don't know, having anything against Big Nasty, especially with his new medical cannabis strain available. But I just, that it just sort of seemed to fit. It was like they wanted me to see I had this curved screen Samsung TV in my nice house at 12 Market Close, which eventually I had to leave. After in 2018, I went to Signet Taunton in like October 2018. In March 2019, I was released, and a copper came to my door. I put in a complaint with Police Professional Standards Department, PSD, about that guy ripping my camera off the wall. And this guy, PC Dudley, came to my house. He said twice to hand deliver a letter, which basically said in the letter that they were doing fuck all about it. So it wasn't like an update on the situation. It was just a letter to tell me nothing had been done about a complaint that they hadn't investigated, that he felt it was so important that I received, that he drove his car all the way from Ashburton police station, it's about 5 miles away, to Buckfastleigh to my house on the 19th and the 20th of March. When I didn't answer the door, when I looked at my CCTV and saw it was the police, I just didn't answer it. I just thought, well, if they want to get hold of me, they'll phone me or email me, and if I'm in trouble. And I could see a letter in the hand. The lady at the door had really distinctive red hair, had like a red wig on, and it looked a little bit like, in retrospect, it looked a bit like Lily Allen, like in a police uniform at my door. And when I tried to back up the file using it onto a USB, still got the very same USB I keep in my wallet. I won't show it to you, bollocks. I tried to back up this file, it wouldn't back up. The CCTV seemed to have some sort of malfunction. I tried about 35 times to put a USB into the file and try this footage of these of the copper stood at the door with this kind of distressed looking lady with red hair, bright red hair, like as in like red dyed hair. And after about the 37th attempt, the file just sort of sprang into action and just started working. And I don't know why or how, but I got this file off and I had it on my Samsung Galaxy S6 phone, which had been sort of severely compromised and hacked at the time. And so I just kind of sat on this information. I think I put it on Twitter. And then I had some further visits from the police. When I went to Signet Taunton in 2018, and I made the stupid mistake of putting my house keys in the security box. And I'm not accusing Signet at all. But about 3 days after I put my house keys in my secure storage, all my accounts got compromised. That's why my email address is now Brodie McLeod Temp, because I thought I was going to get my Brodie McLeod 888, which was my old email address at gmail.com site back. There was about 4 years of investigative, 3.5 years of investigative work on there. Loads of cybercrime investigations, stuff to do with banks, stuff to do with the estate and the medical records of my mum and dad. There was a YouTube channel with about 500 recordings. They got into my Samsung account, remotely erased both my Samsung, both my phones. They got into my Capital One accounts. They got into my 3 mobile contract account, and that was just sort of went to the board. And they got into my Facebook, they got into my Twitter, and they got into my YouTube, and they got into my Google. So they had access to everything basically, and I was just factory reset protected out of my phones. I don't know who it was that did that, but it happened after I put my house keys in the security folder. Just got a key to my room for this room here. It's got a picture of my sister Lily and I that I've just uploaded to my Facebook cover photo. It's not some sad, twisted, obsessive psycho memento thing. I just had a couple of quid left, and I thought I wanted to buy something, a key ring to go on the keychain. I thought, why not get a photo key ring, and what better photo to put in there given the circumstances. I will show you a summary now of there's a Google Drive folder, I'll put a link to it in the description, a summary of what happened with these police visits. So after these 2 visits with the person with red hair, there were 3 further visits to my house. And what happened was that they said that my Facebook password had been stolen, which it had, and they'd been messaging people asking them for money, but they tried to come out to my house 3 times in a row. I'll elaborate more at the end of this. So my concerns: police misconduct, abduction and abuse. This is like a narrative and a summary of the file that I've got on Google Drive regarding all of this. I believe that my brother Connor McLeod was coerced into making a police report regarding an extremely minor crime, a stolen Facebook password. This report, I assert, served as a deliberate pretext for law enforcement, specifically PC Dudley, to repeatedly visit my home under false pretenses with what I perceive as deeply sinister intentions. My specific concerns and the factors that exacerbate my rational fear of ulterior motives are detailed below. Coercion and pretextual reporting. I contend that my brother Connor McLeod was abused and manipulated, being coerced into making a police report about a genuinely stolen social media password. While the theft of my Facebook password was real, I believe this incident was wildly blown out of proportion and then used as an unjustified excuse for PC Dudley and his colleagues to attend my home multiple times. My belief is that this allowed them to be repeatedly seen at the scene, providing a plausible cover should they have been witnessed making an attempt on my life, thereby masking more sinister intentions behind a seemingly legitimate police presence. Repeated suspicious visits for a minor crime. PC Dudley made 3 successive trips to my residence. Given the trivial nature of a stolen Facebook password, these multiple visits by uniformed police in a vehicle strike me as entirely disproportionate and inexplicable under normal police procedures. This persistent and excessive response for such a minor offence intensely fuels my suspicion of hidden motives. Concerted effort to create vulnerability and conceal activity. On a particularly notable visit, loud gardeners using strimmers were coincidentally positioned directly outside my home, creating a significant acoustic mask that would have rendered any sounds of struggle or altercation inaudible from outside. The statistically negligible likelihood of gardeners being directly outside my door making such a loud noise at the exact moment a suspicious police visit was taking place is deeply alarming. Crucially, so on top of this, my home CCTV system went offline less than 5 minutes before PC Dudley's vehicle arrived. The probability of a fully functional CCTV system inexplicably failing moments before, it was like 3 minutes before a police vehicle appears, particularly in the context of these other events, is also statistically negligible. This unexplained and perfectly timed malfunction immediately prior to the police presence profoundly compounds my rational fear that these events were not coincidental, but rather a calculated and coordinated effort to remove my ability to record or monitor activities at my home potentially to conceal the actions taken against me. Exacerbated fear of sinister motives and potential attempts on my life. The confluence of the alleged coerced and disproportionately handled report, the repeated and unwarranted police visits for a minor offence, the highly improbable coincidence of loud masking sounds, and the unexplained and perfectly timed failure of my CCTV system collectively generated a profound and rational fear of sinister or ulterior motives on the part of the attending police, particularly PC Dudley. These extreme circumstances made me feel intensely vulnerable and targeted, leading me to rationally fear that these incidents were potentially part of a broader, more severe criminal agenda, including what I perceive as potential attempts on my life by elements within Devon and Cornwall police. Tacit admission and linked to organised crime. When I stated that my brother Connor was being held against his will by organised criminals, PC Dudley's response of, right, I just want to make sure we've got the right brother, was, in my view, far from an innocent clarification. Instead, I interpret this as a tacit admission of his own involvement with these organised criminals. This response, in the context of the preceding suspicious events and my brother's alleged coercion, strongly suggests to me that PC Dudley's actions and the broader pattern of police misconduct are directly linked to the abuse and coercion of my brother Connor MacLeod as part of a larger coordinated criminal enterprise. The police, in this interpretation, were not merely investigating a crime, but were actively participating in or facilitating the actions of organised criminals against my family. Let's jump back over. I hate people who say that. This is a write-up of when I was getting sectioned in 2018. So this was like a year later. Here's the folder. I'll show you that in a minute. I want to let you listen to the phone call where he says this and see what you think of it. I've just uploaded. It's been deleted from my YouTube, but I've just re-uploaded it. It's a record from Facebook Messenger as an audio file, but you can hear what it says in it anyway.
You may be aware that drive it over, especially after there's been no evidence reviewed and the complaint hasn't even been assessed, and especially hand deliver it to my door, or is it another request that you're phoning me up for today?
Yeah, it's something completely different, Brody.
Is it totally legitimate, or?
If I just explain why I'm calling, we've had a phone call from your brother. Yes. Have you been in touch with him recently?
Yeah, a little while ago. Yeah. He's being held against his will and abused by some criminals, as you're probably aware.
Right. Which brother is this? Just to confirm we got the right brother.
Connor MacLeod.
Right. Okay. Connor's been in contact with us.
Some people have been telling him to make several police reports to try and sort of add legitimacy to the fact that he's being very, very seriously abused and is in a lot of danger at the moment. A lot of it is sort of a subterfuge. They've been telling him to try and report a Facebook page, which he's been trying to claim that Avon and Somerset Police are very interested in investigating his Facebook page. He was involved in, he's been being physically tortured and mutilated. He's been to hospital on several occasions, and he was involved in a break into my house just recently, which he's been censored to.
You can listen to the rest of that, but the guy says, I say that my brother, I think, is being mistreated, and he says to me, I just want to make sure we've got the right brother. I don't know whether that was him saying, like later on in the call, he goes on to say, I was like, why were you coming to my house then? Why were you coming to my house 3 times? Twice I'd recorded them. That's in the Google Drive folder. You can check out the Google Drive folder, read the PDF description, and look at all the video files and the email files, the hacked calls to the police, and the suspicious visits from the police. They came 3 times in total in May 2019. That I've detailed it as on the 10th of May, but it looks like that must have been on the 9th of May because I sent the recording back when you could still do call recordings on my Samsung Galaxy S6. In 2019, none of the call recording apps work on Android phones anymore, sadly. But when you could record calls, I could just share the call via Facebook Messenger to my brother Connor. So he'd come on the 19th and the 20th of March 2019 with this red-haired Lily Allen lookalike. And they'd come back again on the 6th and the 8th of May, and again I think on the 9th or the 10th of May. This was on the 9th, so he was phoning me up because I think they knew I had video footage. I hadn't answered the door to these police, and I didn't know why they were coming to visit me, and I just filmed them. And on one of the times they had people trimming the lawns right outside, and my CCTV box went down, and I filmed it. You can see the video. I took my phone and filmed my CCTV box with the hard drive going doink, 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 like skipping. I'd had my windows open. I'd been hoovering at the time. I don't know if somebody had like parkoured it in through the window, and but the police arrived they were outside within 3 minutes of the recording crashing on the timeline. You can see the recordings crashed, and the police have arrived in less than 5 minutes. And there's these guys streaming outside, and it's like, I'm not answering the door to these people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was really paranoid. It didn't help my mental health at all. Anyway, there was this horrible screaming that happened on the 14th. 4 days later, there was this screaming, and it sounded a lot like my brother Connor, like shrieking in agony. They were trying to draw me out of the house because I had all this evidence of somebody that looked like Lily Allen being dressed as a police officer on my doorstep. I had people who had come to my house 3 times to investigate a stolen Facebook password, and then somebody on the phone recorded saying, like, he starts to making reference to, my sister made an album called All Right Still, and he's like, I just wanted to make sure you're all right. Yeah, just want to make sure you're all right. You're all right still. Like, and he was using it in a kind of, like, the intonation. If you listen to the phone call, watch the YouTube video. This one's really dark. You only hear this shrieking a couple of times.
So I'm just in Buckfast Lee, and there's some fucking mental noise coming from over there. It's fucking horrible.